Welcome to Sunrise, the program through which we are going through Psalms. 3 Psalms every week. It's our hope and desire to finish the entire book of Psalms by the end of this year. And this week we are looking at Psalm 52, Psalm 53, and Psalm 54. So I want us to start by looking at Psalm 52. And let me read. This is what it says. Why do you boast of evil, you mighty hero? Why do you boast all day long? You who are a disgrace in the eyes of God, you who practice deceit, your tongue plots destruction. It is like a sharpened laser. You love evil rather than good, falsehood rather than speaking the truth. You love every harmful word, you deceitful tongue. Surely God will bring you down to everlasting ruin. He will snatch you up and pluck you from your tent. He will uproot you from the land of the living. The righteous will see and fear. They will laugh at you, saying, Here now is the man who did not make God his stronghold, but trusted in his great wealth, and grew strong by destroying others. But I am like an olive tree flourishing in the house of God. I trust in the unfailing love forever and ever. For what you have done, I will always praise you in the presence of your faithful people. And I will hope in your name, for your name is good. It is very interesting the way David had a song for every circumstance, for every situation, for every occasion that he went through, regardless of how hard, how unpleasant, how painful a situation was. He wrote this song when he ran away from Saul, never to go back to him again. You remember that day when he said bye to Jonathan, Saul's son, somewhere in a farm, and they embraced and they hugged and they saw to each other friendship for life, because they had come to realize for sure and proved it that Saul was intent in killing David. And so David leaves the presence of Saul and he goes, he's running away, and he passes through the town of Nob, where the priests resided. And when he is there, he's hungry, the men are hungry, and he enters the town, he enters the temple, and he asks for blood. And you can remember, if you have read that part of the Bible, the Ahimelech, the high priest, tells David, the only bread I have here is the consecrated bread. Are your men clean? Then I can give it to you. And David says, yes, they are clean. So they are given the bread from the presence of the Lord. They eat. And then David also asks for a sword. He asks Ahimelech if he has any sword. Ahimelech says yes, he has a sword. The sword that used to belong to Goliath, whom David had killed. And David says, yes, that's a good sword. There's none like that sword. And he is given, and then he leaves, he runs away to another country. But when David is doing all this, there's a man called Doeg, the Edomite. Doeg was an Edomite, and he was the chief shepherd of King Saul. So he goes back to where Saul is, and Saul is there lamenting the fact that his servants don't hear him when David is running away. Why have they conspired? Even with his son Jonathan, they don't tell him where David is. And so Doeg tells Saul, didn't I see David at Nob? Didn't even Ahimelech help him, give him bread, and even give him the sword that belonged to Goliath? And Saul gets so annoyed he summons Ahimelech, he kills Ahimelech, he kills more than 80 priests. In fact, he puts the entire town of Nob to the sword. And it is after this that David writes this psalm, and he says that God will bring down such kind of a person who thrives in evil. That's why he starts by, why do you boast of evil, you mighty hero? Why do you boast all day long? And it also seems as if, as the chief shepherd of King Saul, Doeg was a very rich person, because later on he says, why do you boast even in your wealth? So David is saying this kind of a character in Doeg, who thrives in bringing others down. His success is found in bringing others down. He is saying, even you, God will bring you down. But those who trust in the Lord, those who believe in the Lord, will be like an olive tree planted in the house of the Lord. And it will thrive, it will flourish, bringing fruit throughout its life. All the seasons bearing fruit. But those people who are like Doeg will be uprooted. They cannot live in the land of the living. They cannot. And God will make sure that the righteous witness the uprooting of those people who are like Doeg. And so what David does is to pledge more loyalty to God. And you know what? It's very interesting, because Doeg only appears in the book of Samuel. Actually, only in one chapter, 1 Samuel chapter 20, where he is listening to the conversation between Ahimelech and David. You never hear of Doeg again in the entire Bible. He disappears completely, almost fulfilling what David is saying here, that those characters like Doeg will be uprooted from the land of living. But those who are like David keep flourishing. They are like an olive tree flourishing in the temple of the Lord, bearing fruit, nourishing others, benefiting other people. And for sure, the name David is the name mentioned the most in the Bible. Both in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, David is there. And up to date, we sing about David. We like being like David. We name our children David. We don't name our children Doeg, because those who are like Doeg are uprooted. Those who thrive in bringing others down. Those who find pleasure in betraying the righteous. Those who find pleasure when the righteous fall, or when others fall. Those who like putting others down. David said those kind of characters are uprooted. But those who are righteous, those who look up to God, those who trust in God, they are like an olive tree planted in the sanctuary of the Lord. And so what is the solution? We can only do like David, who in this kind of a situation pledged loyalty to the Lord. He pledged more loyalty to the Lord. He looked up to God even after being betrayed to this extent. And you know what? Abiathar was the only one in the family of Ahimelech who managed to run away, to escape the sword of King Saul. And when David became the king, Abiathar was to become the high priest of King David. And he was there throughout the reign of King King David. So even if King Saul put to sword the family of Ahimelech, God made sure someone remained to continue with that priesthood, because it was not an act of God. So let's continue serving the Lord. Let's continue pledging our loyalty to the Lord. Let's not be those who betray the righteous. Let's not be those who backstab others, but let's be those who are like Ahimelech, who stand with the righteous even at the cost of their life. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. Be blessed. May you continue reading Psalms.